Captain Alex Rider sat in the cockpit of his sleek starfighter, the Aurora, as the vast expanse of space unfolded before him. The cold, dark void was punctuated by twinkling stars, but today a sense of unease settled in his chest. He had been stationed on the frontier colony of Viridian for over a year, flying routine patrols and engaging in the same monotonous tasks day in and day out. The thrill of exploration had faded, leaving behind a lingering discontent. Just as Alex contemplated returning to the colony for a long overdue break, a garbled distress signal crackled over the comm system. His interest piqued, he adjusted his frequency and listened intently. The voice that emerged was frantic and alien, filled with fear and desperation. It was a call from Zinthara, a distant planet known for its breathtaking bioluminescent forests and vibrant cities. "Help! We are under attack. The warlord Karak has come. Please, anyone, respond." The urgency in the voice jolted Alex from his stupor. Karak was infamous throughout the galaxy, a merciless conqueror who sought to enslave civilizations for their resources. The Zintharans, with their peaceful nature and advanced technology, would be easy prey. Memories of the tales he had heard about Zinthara's beauty flooded his mind, sparking a flicker of something he hadn't felt in a long time: purpose. Alex activated the navigation systems and charted a course for Zinthara, his heart racing with adrenaline. As the stars blurred past, he pondered the challenges that lay ahead. Would the Zintharans accept his help? Would they see him as an intruder or an ally? His thoughts were interrupted by a warning alert as the ship shook violently. An enemy scout vessel had detected his approach. Engaging evasive maneuvers, Alex expertly piloted the Aurora through a series of intricate turns, his instincts honed by years of practice. With each maneuver, he felt the exhilaration of flying return. In a flash, he unleashed a volley of laser fire, damaging the scout ship and forcing it to retreat. The victory felt small but invigorating. As the glow of Zinthara's atmosphere filled the viewport, Alex prepared for landing. The planet's surface was a mosaic of colors. Lush greens and brilliant blues mingled together like a painter's palette. He had studied reports on Zinthara's culture. They were a deeply spiritual race, valuing harmony and peace above all. Yet the looming threat of Karak forced him to confront the grim reality: they would need to fight to survive. Touching down in a secluded clearing, Alex emerged from the Aurora, his heart pounding with a mix of anticipation and fear. The air was fragrant with the scent of alien flora, and the sounds of distant creatures echoed in the background. He activated his communicator, hoping to establish contact with any Zintharan factions. "Anyone out there? This is Captain Alex Rider of the Viridian colony. I'm here to help," he announced, his voice steady despite the uncertainty. Moments stretched into eternity until a figure stepped cautiously from the shadows. A Zintharan, tall and graceful, emerged, their luminescent skin shimmering in the twilight. The alien's eyes, filled with a mix of curiosity and suspicion, locked onto Alex, and he knew he was now part of something greater. "Human?" The Zintharan spoke, their voice melodic yet laced with trepidation. "What brings you to our world at such a perilous time?" With a determined gaze, Alex replied, "I've come to help you fight against Karak." In that moment, he realized he was no longer just a pilot lost in the stars. He had become a defender of a civilization on the brink of annihilation. As Alex stood before the Zintharan, he could sense the weight of their desperation. The alien's luminescent skin flickered like a candle in the wind, reflecting the turmoil brewing within their society. "I am Kayla," the Zintharan introduced themselves, their voice both cautious and curious. "You are brave to come here alone, human, but bravery alone may not be enough." Alex felt the gravity of the moment. Keela's presence was both imposing and inspiring, their stature symbolizing the strength of a people determined to protect their home. "I may not know your ways, but I can help you prepare," he replied, an ember of determination igniting within him. Karek's forces will come, and we need to be ready. Kayla studied Alex intently, searching for sincerity in his eyes. After what felt like an eternity, they nodded slowly. Follow me. We must gather others who still believe we can resist. They led him through the thick bioluminescent foliage, which glowed in shades of green and blue, creating an ethereal atmosphere. Alex marveled at the alien beauty surrounding him, a stark contrast to the chaos he knew was approaching. As they walked, Kayla began to explain their culture. The Xintherans had always prioritized harmony over conflict, using their advanced technology primarily for agriculture and environmental preservation. The thought of engaging in warfare was foreign to them, and the very idea of fighting filled Kayla with doubt. When they arrived at a hidden enclave, Alex was greeted by a diverse group of Xintherans, warriors, scholars, and engineers who had gathered to discuss their dire situation. They regarded him with a mix of suspicion and hope. Kayla stood at the forefront and introduced Alex, outlining the impending threat they faced. The murmurs of disbelief and fear rippled through the crowd. I know your people are not warriors, but I can teach you to defend yourselves, Alex asserted, feeling the weight of their gazes upon him. We don't have to lose our way of life, we can protect it. After a long silence, a stout Xintheran named Garon stepped forward, his voice deep and resonant. You speak of strength, human, but our people have long believed in peace. How can we fight without becoming what we despise? Alex took a breath, considering the best way to address their concerns. Fighting doesn't mean abandoning your values. It means defending what matters most. Your culture can coexist with strength. Together, we can show Karek that you will not be easily conquered. The words hung in the air, and after a tense pause, Kayla raised their hand. Let us hear this human's plan. If we are to fight, we must do so wisely. Over the next few days, Alex immersed himself in training the Xintherans. He began with basic tactics, teaching them how to maneuver in combat, set up defensive positions, and utilize their surroundings. He tailored his lessons to blend their unique abilities with his knowledge of warfare. In the evenings, the group would gather around glowing fires, sharing stories of their pasts, weaving bonds of trust and friendship. As the Xintherans began to train, Alex witnessed their transformation. Initially hesitant, they quickly adapted to the drills, displaying agility and resilience. The warriors found strength in their movements, while the engineers devised makeshift weaponry using their advanced technology. The fusion of their cultures birthed an unanticipated synergy. One night, as they concluded a rigorous training session, a distant rumble echoed through the trees. The ground vibrated with the ominous approach of Karek's fleet, a reminder that time was running out. Alex could feel the tension in the air, uncertainty clawed at the edges of their newfound camaraderie. Tomorrow, Alex announced, looking each Xintheran in the eye, we will begin reconnaissance. We need to know what we're up against. The crowd murmured in agreement, a wave of resolve washing over them. The Xintherans were no longer just a peaceful civilization. They were becoming warriors ready to defend their home. Alex felt a surge of hope, knowing that together, they were forging a path forward in a battle that would define not just their survival, but their very identity. As dawn broke over the bioluminescent landscape of Xinthara, the vibrant colors of the flora glowed more brilliantly than ever, painting a surreal backdrop for the task ahead. Alex gathered the Xintherans in a central clearing, where the shimmering trees formed a natural amphitheater. He could see the determination in their eyes, but lingering doubts still clouded their spirits. They were not a people accustomed to conflict, and he needed to cultivate both their strength and unity. Today, we form our first alliance, not just with each other, but with our surroundings, Alex began, his voice steady and inspiring. We must learn to work together as one cohesive unit. Each of you has skills that, when combined, can become our greatest weapon. Kayla stood beside him, their presence reassuring the crowd. We may not have faced a battle before, but we have our knowledge of this land. The Zinthurans have thrived in harmony with nature for centuries. We will use this to our advantage." With that, Alex divided the Zinthurans into groups based on their strengths. The engineers would work on enhancing their defensive structures, while the warriors would practice tactical maneuvers that utilized the unique geography of their home. He emphasized that every part of their environment, the dense forests, the shimmering lakes, and the steep cliffs, could serve as both shelter and weapon against their foes. As the training progressed, Alex forged unexpected bonds with the Zinthurans. He discovered that they had their own forms of camaraderie and traditions, which were steeped in rituals that celebrated unity. One evening, they invited him to partake in a ceremony of sharing, a ritual where stories and experiences were exchanged. Sitting around a glowing fire, Alex shared tales of his adventures across the galaxy, his encounters with other species, and the lessons he had learned. In turn, the Zinthurans recounted their rich history, filled with myths and legends about the guardians of their world, entities that once protected their civilization in ancient times. As the days passed, a deep sense of trust began to grow among them. Garan, who had initially been skeptical of Alex's intentions, became one of his closest allies. Together, they worked on devising strategies that combined human tactics with Zinthuran agility. Garan's strength and Alex's quick thinking complemented each other, forming a formidable partnership. Meanwhile, Kayla had their own journey of discovery. They began to realize that embracing their warrior spirit did not mean abandoning their values. Through training, they learned to channel their deep connection to the planet into their fighting style, becoming not just fighters but guardians of their home. Kayla's fierce dedication inspired others, drawing more Zinthurans to their cause. The night before the reconnaissance mission, tensions ran high. As they prepared to leave, Alex sensed the nervous energy in the air. He gathered everyone together, including those who had been reluctant to join the fight. "Tomorrow is not just about scouting the enemy," he said, his voice carrying a weight of conviction. "It's about showing Karak that we are united, that we are willing to stand together to protect our home. We are not just individuals, we are a force. Together, we are stronger than any army." Kayla nodded, their gaze unwavering. "This is our land, and we will defend it. We will show Karak the strength of Zinthara and the courage of its people." With newfound resolve, the Zinthurans prepared for the mission, equipped with makeshift weapons and tools that Alex and the engineers had fashioned. As night fell, they moved stealthily through the shimmering foliage, the bioluminescent plants illuminating their path. The thrill of the unknown surged through Alex. He was no longer just a human pilot on a solitary quest, but part of a burgeoning alliance fighting for survival. As they neared the perimeter of Karak's encampment, the atmosphere shifted. The sounds of distant machinery and the chatter of soldiers echoed through the night. Alex felt the pulse of adrenaline quicken his heart. They were close now, on the brink of an encounter that could alter the course of their lives forever. It was in this moment of quiet anticipation that the true power of their alliance became clear. They had transcended their differences, united not just by the threat they faced, but by a shared commitment to protect what they loved. No longer was Alex merely a human among aliens. He had become an integral part of a cause that resonated deeply within him. Together, they would fight not just to survive, but to forge a future where peace and strength could coexist. As dawn broke over Zinthara, the vibrant colors of the planet's landscape were a stark contrast to the tension that gripped the hearts of its defenders. Alex stood at the edge of the clearing, watching as the Zinthurans prepared for the inevitable clash with Karak's forces. They had trained hard, but the weight of the moment pressed heavily upon them. Today would determine the fate of their civilization. The sky darkened as Karak's fleet loomed overhead, ominous shadows blotting out the sunlight. Massive warships hovered like predatory birds, their engines humming with a low, menacing growl. Alex could feel the anticipation crackling in the air, a mix of fear and resolve among the Zintharans gathered around him. He had instilled in them a belief that they could fight, but now the reality of the battle ahead threatened to shake that belief. "Stay focused," Alex instructed, pacing before the assembled group. "We have the element of surprise. They underestimate us, and we will use that to our advantage. Remember your training. Trust in yourselves and each other." Kayla stood at the forefront, their luminescent skin glowing brightly as they addressed the group. "This is not just a battle for survival, it is a battle for our way of life. We fight not only for ourselves, but for every future generation of Zintharans. We will show Karak the strength of our resolve." As they moved into position, Alex felt a surge of pride. The Zintharans had transformed from a pacifist society into a fierce group of warriors, ready to defend their home. He had witnessed their growth and resilience, and now he would fight alongside them. The first wave of Karak's troops began to land, their armored transports descending like thunderclouds. As they spilled onto the surface, Alex signaled the Zintharan defenders to remain hidden. They were well versed in the terrain, and he had positioned them strategically around the clearing, using the natural environment to their advantage. "Now," Alex shouted, his voice rising above the sounds of the encroaching enemy. A chorus of battle cries erupted from the Zintharans as they leaped from their hiding spots, launching their first attack. They moved with an agility that surprised even Alex, who had trained with them tirelessly. The initial skirmish erupted in chaos. Zintharans wielding improvised weapons clashed with Karak soldiers, their movements a dance of grace and determination. Alex piloted a small scout ship overhead, providing aerial support and relaying critical information about enemy movements to the ground troops. As he zoomed in on the battlefield, Alex spotted Garan engaging a squad of Karak soldiers. The Zintharan warrior fought with raw intensity, their strong frame cutting through the enemy lines. But as the battle raged, it became clear that Karak's forces were well prepared and heavily armed, and their numbers were overwhelming. Alex spotted a group of Zintharan engineers frantically working on a defensive structure, trying to fortify their position against the advancing troops. They needed protection and fast. He adjusted his ship's trajectory, diving low to provide cover fire, targeting enemy units with precision. "Hold your ground," Alex yelled through the comms, rallying the Zintharans. "We're not just defending, we're fighting for our future." In the heat of the battle, Kayla led a charge against a squad of Karak's elite soldiers. They moved with a fierce determination, embodying the spirit of their people. The Zintharans' commitment to their cause inspired others to fight harder, rallying around Kayla as they pushed back against the invaders. But the tide began to shift as Karak unleashed a wave of reinforcements. A chilling sense of dread settled over Alex as he watched more enemy ships descend, filling the battlefield with the sounds of war. Karak's forces were relentless, their aggression threatening to overwhelm the Zintharan defenders. "We need to regroup," Alex shouted, knowing they couldn't sustain this onslaught much longer. "Fall back to the secondary line. We'll regroup and launch a counterattack." The Zintharans, fueled by adrenaline and the urgency of the moment, followed his orders. They pulled back strategically, using the dense forest and natural barriers to shield themselves from Karak's relentless advance. Alex flew overhead, coordinating their movements and spotting weak points in the enemy lines. As they regrouped, the Zintharans began to forge a new plan, drawing upon the lessons learned during their training. Together, they would channel their fears into a final push, a united front that would show Karak the indomitable spirit of Zinthara. With renewed determination, Alex and Kayla exchanged a resolute glance. They knew the fight was far from over, but in that moment, they felt the strength of their alliance and the hope of their shared cause. They were not just fighting to survive, they were fighting to reclaim their home and protect their future. The battle had only just begun, and they would face it together. The air crackled with tension as Alex and the Zintharans regrouped, the battlefield a chaotic swirl of colors and sounds. Karek's forces pressed forward relentlessly, but the defenders of Zinthara were not about to back down. As they caught their breath, Alex felt the weight of their resolve. They had come too far to falter now. "Listen up," Alex called out, rallying the Zintharans around him. "We've proven we can hold our ground. Now we need to strike back harder. Use everything you've learned, every trick, every tactic. We are the defenders of Zinthara, and we will show Karek the strength of our spirit." Kayla stepped forward, their luminescent skin glowing fiercely. "This is our moment. We have fought side by side, and now we will not only defend our home, but reclaim it. Trust in yourselves and in each other. We are united." With renewed vigor, the Zintharans took their positions. Alex piloted his scout ship in tight formations, coordinating strikes and flanking maneuvers. He guided the Zintharans with precision, his heart racing as they moved like a well-oiled machine. They used the terrain to their advantage, creating obstacles and traps for Karek's advancing troops. As the defenders launched their counterattack, the battlefield transformed into a fierce dance of strategy and bravery. Garon led a group of warriors into a bold charge, flanking Karek's forces from the left, while Kayla commanded a contingent to create diversions, drawing the enemy's fire away from vulnerable areas. In the thick of battle, Alex spotted an opportunity. Karek's command center was situated on a hill just beyond the main fray. If they could take that position, they could disrupt Karek's communication and potentially turn the tide of the battle. He communicated the plan to Kayla and Garon, who nodded in agreement, their eyes blazing with determination. "Let's move," Alex shouted, diving his ship low to provide cover fire as the Zintharans surged forward. The sound of laser fire echoed through the air, blending with the cries of both defenders and invaders. As they approached the command center, they faced fierce resistance from Karek's elite guards. Alex coordinated the assault, directing Zintharans to flank and outmaneuver their foes. In the midst of the chaos, Garon fought valiantly, his weapon flashing as he cut down enemies with swift precision. The Zintharans, emboldened by their training and unity, pushed forward relentlessly. Finally, after a brutal confrontation, they breached the command center. The sight within was a stark contrast to the vibrant world outside, a darkened space filled with blinking consoles and shadowy figures. Alex and Kayla exchanged a determined glance as they charged into the fray, taking down the enemy guards with a flurry of coordinated strikes. Once inside, Alex quickly hacked into the command terminal, relaying vital information to the Zintharans on the battlefield. The tide of the battle began to shift. They now had the upper hand. Karek's troops, disoriented by the loss of their command structure, faltered. "Now's our chance," Kayla shouted, rallying their people. "Push forward. Show them the strength of Zinthara." The Zintharans surged back into the fray, emboldened by their newfound momentum. With the command center compromised, Karek's forces began to retreat, their confidence shattered in the face of unified resistance. As victory seemed within reach, Alex spotted Karek himself attempting to escape. With a surge of adrenaline, he took off in his ship, pursuing the warlord's vessel as it roared away from the battlefield. The chase was exhilarating, adrenaline coursing through his veins as he expertly maneuvered through the chaos. Finally, in a bold maneuver, Alex cut off Karek's escape route, forcing the warlord's ship to veer off course. With precise fire, he disabled Karek's engines, sending the ship spiraling to the ground. Moments later, Alex landed beside the wreckage, emerging to confront the fallen warlord. Karek emerged, battered but defiant. "You may have won this battle, human, but you will never conquer the galaxy," he spat, rage and desperation flashing in his eyes. Alex met Karek's gaze with unwavering resolve. "This isn't about conquering. It's about defending what's right. Your reign of terror ends here." With Karek captured, Alex returned to the battlefield, where cheers erupted among the Zintharans. They had not only defended their home, but transformed into a formidable force, standing tall against tyranny. As the dust settled, Alex felt a profound sense of belonging. He had not only fought for Zinthara, he had become part of its legacy. The Zintharans, once hesitant, had discovered their strength and resilience, forever changed by the conflict they had faced together. In the days that followed, as the Zintharans celebrated their hard-won victory, Alex realized that he had found a new home among them. They were no longer just allies, but a family bound by shared struggles and triumphs. Together, they would face whatever challenges lay ahead, united in purpose and spirit. Zinthara would rise, not just as a planet, but as a beacon of hope, a testament to the strength of unity and the power of transformation.